Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
And so on the 27th of November last year, we had a New Year's resolution to meet someone new every day for the next 366 days. And the hardest thing for us was to start that journey. And then when we started, it was a day-by-day proposition to meet someone new.
Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Today's episode brought to you by Davis Home Inspections of Albany, Oregon. For all your home inspection needs in the Willamette Valley, call Davis Home Inspections. And Southpaw's Perfect Pizza, supporting the community and making perfect pizza. Call Southpaw's in Albany, Oregon. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. So glad to be with you all again today. And I have two of my favorite people back on today. This is actually an update podcast. Stephen and Donna Fry, who are on an amazing connecting journey. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And I'm going to introduce them. But first, I want to remind you that I'm Russ Hedge. I'm a coach, motivational speaker, podcaster, obviously, of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie, and author of the recent book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. And it's a very inspirational, encouraging book teaching you how you can live the life you choose. Because, you know, it's really our choice. Life comes at us, and then we get to choose what we do with it. So you're going to have to get that. It's going to be out officially on November 24th online. And with all of that said, don't forget that more information about me is at russhedge.com. That's russhedge.com. You can find all my links to social media, my email, everything that you need. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right into my friends, Stephen and Donna. Stephen, Donna, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, thanks,
Fantastic.
Russ.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for having us back to have a chat again.
Yeah.
Well, any excuse to talk to the two of you. I mean that with all my heart. You're so much fun to talk to. Before we were chatting for so long, I would have liked to have kept going on, but I know your time is precious because you've got all these people to connect with still. And today, you guys are on day 339, and some people may not know what that means. So Stephen, why don't you give us just a short synopsis of your journey that you've been on so far this year?
Yep. Love to, Russ. It's been an amazing journey for us. And it all started, maybe have all the time to go into everything, but it started on the 27th of November last year. After 12 months wrestling with the thought of, should we do something like this or not? And having that little voice in our head, tell us, who do you think you are? What makes you think you could, go out there and talk to people every day? And so on the 27th of November last year, we had a New Year's resolution to meet someone new every day for the next 366 days. And the hardest thing for us was to start that journey. And then when we started, it was a day-by-day proposition to meet someone new. And we started this by physically meeting people. We had no concept of connecting with people online. And so for 90 days, we went out about the town we lived in, Adelaide, South Australia, said hello to people enough times to someone wanted to have a conversation with us, to eventually get a photograph with them and put it on Instagram. And then when coronavirus came around and we found ourselves locked down, it wasn't a decision about whether we should stop now. It was a decision around how do we keep going? And that's what led us to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's been just quite an amazing experience for us to connect with people across the whole globe. It's just been quite incredible learning experience for us. We started this journey purely to learn how to better communicate with people without an agenda, but had no conception at all about how much people would appreciate having someone wanting to connect with them. Just didn't appreciate that at all. And that just continues. Like we spoke to last night, a young lady, 24 years of age, runs a startup company in India, just such an exciting lady to talk to. And then I wake up in the morning and I've got messages from friends of hers that she then went out after our conversation, spoke to friends of hers that have messaged to say they'd really love to catch up and have a talk as well. It's just quite, yeah, it's quite unbelievable, really. Well, it is believable. I shouldn't say it's unbelievable. It is believable. Yeah. And as Russ said, we're at day 339,
Yeah.
which leaves us with 28 days to go.
Oh, wow.
And to put it in context, it started out as we want to meet one person every day. We have met someone every day, but the total amount of people we've had conversations with is roughly about 700 people so far. And with the time we've got left, we'll probably get another 100 people that we'll get to talk to.
You know, that's so amazing because there are days when you guys speak to just a ton of people, because I know that you've made sure that you have somebody every day. So you've stacked up extra people per day. Donna, what's your biggest day that you've had so far, and the biggest number?
I can't remember if it was 5 or 6. We've had a few days of 5 people. There may have been one in there somewhere that was 6, and that was probably just the one though. So yeah, that was a pretty big day.
Well, yeah. I mean, I am tracking you guys all the time and all the people coming through, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm like clicking on 3, 4, 5 people in a day, and I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted, and I haven't even done that. Yeah. Well, and you guys have to make sure and you get all the information, and you always put out on social media what you're doing. I mean, it's a lot of work just to do that.
Yeah.
It could never happen with just one person. I think like the key is that we're doing it together. So, we kind of got this system going where Stephen will do a lot of the talking while I sit there and take the notes so that we can write something up afterwards and put it out. And that's sort of just a big collaboration deal, I guess. Yeah.
And it sort of shows what we've always learned is that as you step outside your comfort zone, it's a little bit uncomfortable, and then it gets comfortable, and then you can stretch yourself further. So if when we started, we thought we were going to do what we're doing now, we probably would never have started.
Run away.
We'd never have started. So, it started out, as we said, one person a day, and then as time goes on, one thing leads to another. You stretch your comfort zone a little bit more. And you just find yourself in this position where we've learnt so much from this whole journey.
It's just amazing. I mean, it is amazing. You are a perfect example. So I have 5 steps of connection that I do. That, by the way, is in my new book. But the number one thing is start. And that's what people don't do. And look what happened. You just started. I mean, when we were talking about that the first time, you had talked about it a little bit, but then you just started. And that is so amazing because it takes that first step to really bust out and do things. And now look at all that you've accomplished already. And you got your beautiful matching captain's chairs there, your gaming chairs, which are beautiful in beaver colors. And you have done it together, which is wonderful because, it's so nice. The two of you are so wonderful and such a great couple to begin with, but being able to do things together, really, that just makes life all that much better.
Yep, and that's always been what we wanted to do. When Donna and I got together in 2012 and married in 2015, we had 2 thoughts. We want to do something together, and we want to do something that helps other people. And that's what led us on, I guess, a bit of a journey where we connected with someone who was very successful. Like, he was an engineer like me. He retired from engineering at the age of 29 back in '87, developing businesses ever since. And we sought him out. We'd heard about him. He was willing to have a coffee with us. We drove 9 hours to sit down and have a coffee with him. He lived in Melbourne. We live in Adelaide, which is about a 9 hours drive. And I remember sitting down and asking him, I'm 50 years of age. I've been an engineer all my life. What do I need to do to change? And without thinking about anything, he just looked at me and he said, read. And I went, what? Read? Like, I haven't read since 1986. And he said, look, I'll give you some suggested books. I suggest you read 15 minutes a day. let me know how you go. And that really is what led us to what we do today, because reading opened our thoughts. We learnt so much through reading. In fact, I say to people now, I've learnt more in the last 5 years than I learnt the 50 years before that. And that's what helped us to understand that communication is key. You've got to learn how to communicate with people. And I guess when you're thinking about things like that, we sort of come across this idea, struggled with the thought of doing it for 12 months and then started it. So
yeah, it is truly amazing. And the whole, I mean, first of all, you went from what you call a slightly awkward engineer, broke out of your comfort zone. You went out and you met all these people, and now you're talking to people all over the world. And it's crazy. You've talked to a couple friends of mine, really good mutual friend, Jason Cooper out of Dublin, Ireland. He and I have become really good friends. He was one of your people. And then I just talked to yesterday, I think his name is Sindhai from India. And he actually contacted me after meeting you two.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's been, like we talked about, juggling all the time zones. I mean, I think I have a lot of energy. You two just exhaust me. So the question I have, Donna, with those chairs that tip back and relax, and Stephen talked about possibly nodding up. Does he snore or not?
Oh, I'm afraid so. But I must add that the dog snores louder. So it's not a bad snore.
There you go. No, that's so awesome. Through this adventure, I think that really this whole virus has been a blessing to you two, because it enabled you to do things you never would have done. I don't think you ever would have thought about approaching everybody all over the world through LinkedIn the way you have, had you not had this happen.
And that is so true, because there's a defining point when people got locked down, where before that a lot of people never even heard the word Zoom. And then after that, everyone's comfortable with jumping on Zoom now, because it's just the way. So technology's become even more common use than what it was before. But by far the most significant thing that when you think about it, the size of this is just enormous. And that is, when we started to learn how to communicate with people, we were always told to seek common ground. For example, like Russ, if you were traveling, say in Europe, when we can travel in Europe, if you met someone else from Beaver College or Barrack for Beaver, you'd be like long lost friends because of the common ground, even though you didn't know them from a bar of soap. So it's the same as communicating with people. If you find common ground, that connection becomes really strong. And at the moment, the amazing thing is there's 7 million people on the planet, everyone on the planet, 7 billion people on the planet, all have common ground. We all have a story about coronavirus that everyone wants to talk about. So you can literally connect with someone that you don't know randomly and just simply ask them, how you going in the world? How you going? How you coping with what's going on at the moment? And they'll want to share, right? Because people want to reach out. Where a year ago, if you just randomly sent someone a message asking how they're going, they would think you're a freak.
Well, it's true. I mean, we've got all this common ground. Everybody does have a story, but what I love is the fact that it's become like, I used to just, like, I was watching a TV show last night, and it was like a detective police show, and they had people pop up on their screen and they're talking on video calls. When I used to watch that, I thought, hardly anybody really does that. I mean, that's kind of like space age things, even though it was around, I just didn't use that technology. But once I started, and the first time I did it was just before COVID. A good friend of mine, he got me started because I was going to start my business on the side. So I'd laid the groundwork. He teaches me about Zoom. Well, it was like a miracle, because as soon as this all happened, I had laid the groundwork and knowledge how to do this stuff. So suddenly I knew how to jump on and talk to everybody. And it's amazing. The thing that always gets me, though, is one of the great little apps they have, WhatsApp, on your phone. You can be texting people all over the world. Every time I do it, though, I'll send a text, and all of a sudden my thought is, oops, what time is it there? Because I'm thinking I could be waking them up in the middle of the night, unless of course they're you guys and you stay up half the night, so it doesn't matter. But, oh, that is so great. I mean, it's just been such a blessing to meet you both, and I know that this is our relationship and friendship is gonna go on. I can't wait till I get a chance to come to Australia, and I'm gonna come down and say hey. Because there's so many people I've met that I can't wait till we can actually travel to other places and you can actually see them face to face, because some of my people that I spend the most time with now are in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's true, isn't it? Yeah.
then you find out how tall or short they are.
Yeah. Oh, well, listen, hey, we have to wrap this up. I could talk to you guys forever, but give us your contact information again in case people are interested in getting in on the last few days of your journey.
Yep. So you can check out Instagram. The ID is all one word, I guess, or letters, or however you one sentence. The Stephen Fry with a PH. So THESTEPHENFRY, and just Stephen Fry on LinkedIn. And it should be easy to select me on the one there with the two of us, me and my lovely wife together. There's not too many couple photographs on LinkedIn, so it shouldn't be too hard to find.
That's awesome. Well, today is, what is today? Today, the 29th of October, 30th.
Yeah, 30th for us and 29th for you.
That's right. That's right. You're on a new day. Okay. So for me, it's the 29th, and I will be airing this a week from today. So that would be, I think, the 5th of November. So you'll still be in the midst of this. I'm going to bump this up and get you guys on while it's still happening. So yeah, it's been so great. We're going to have to stay in touch, and I look forward to you guys being part of my big book Zoom celebration coming up on the 24th. But I'll make sure and keep in contact with you about that. And thanks again. I really appreciate you coming and updating us.
Thanks for having us, Russ.
See ya.
Okay, thank all of you for joining in today. You've got to connect with Stephen and Donna before they go on a big vacation after this is all over so they can rest. So if you still have time, connect with them on LinkedIn. And I'm just so grateful you've all joined us today. Hope we've added some great value to you, because I know all of this has added great value to my life. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.